Final Fantasy Spirits Within, July 13th, 2001. I think the problem with Final Fantasy series is that I don't think there was at the time no one game had the same story. So, what was the film going to be about? Was it going to be based on one of the games, or were they going to do a completely different story again? They went with a completely different story, and it was a bad idea because they didn't even do it in any sort of way of how the games went. It was sort of like, it's an RPG series, and this probably would have made a good game if you tied in a few battles and stuff, but instead of throwing in a bit of fantasy element or the barren future sometimes, which they do, but this was completely barren, and there wasn't really an enemy as such, but it seemed like, from what I remember when I watched it, it was like a plague or something. It was sort of like plagues that took the form of creatures, and they run through you and rip something from you or another. But anyway, it was all about finding the cure to something that's happened. I heard, what I don't like about this film is I heard that it crashed Square's plans to remake Final Fantasy 7 through to 9 for the PS2 with the Final Fantasy 10 graphics, which I would have really loved if they had done that. I was going to get Final Fantasy 10, but I ended up dropping it in favour for Metal Gear Solid, I think. It wasn't bad, this film, but it just wasn't what I was expecting, to be honest. So, that's all I have to say about this film. Resident Evil, I've seen this one as well, 15th of March 2002. What I'd have to say about this one is it's a good film, but not a good adaptation of the game. It would have been better if it had been something else. Paul Anderson took this one, did pretty well with Mortal Kombat beforehand, and he's now got... he made that a really good adaptation of Mortal Kombat, I thought. But something really bad went wrong with this one when it adapted. We got the mansion, we got the zombies, but we didn't get any of the characters. He just decided to create a new main character out of nowhere. What was wrong about having Chris Redfield and Jill Valentine as the main characters and Albert Wesker as a bad guy? It would have been so much cooler to see that, I thought. As I said, this wasn't a bad film, it was a good film, but I just didn't like the way it just changed the story. I can watch this one if I go into it with the mind of, I'm not watching Resident Evil, I'm watching just a random zombie flick. I've read George Romerio's script, the Day of the Dead director, the Living Dead director, and I actually read that through, and it was a pretty good adaptation. There was a few things I didn't like Albert Wesker would kill Barry Burton in it, and Wesker would get torn apart by the tyrant, but it tied in quite a few things. He made it a bit eccentric, and he developed it towards, the breaking of the story, but I thought his version would have been much better to see. It got 2 sequels, so it wasn't too good when it came out in the cinema. It didn't do that well, but it did really well as DVD release. So it wasn't too bad as far as video game movies go. Pokemon Heroes, yet another Pokemon film, and followed by another Pokemon film. Oh god. Right, Tomb Raider: The Cradle of Life, July 25th, 2003. Yeah, this wasn't a bad film either. I liked this one. Not as much as I liked the first one. It was a better story, but I don't think the action was as good in this film. It's got Angelina Jolie returns, doing the good British accent again. Yeah, it was pretty good, but not very interesting at parts, as you can probably tell by me saying pretty good over and over again. Yeah, basically an adventure film. If you've seen Indiana Jones, as I said before, you've seen it all. I say National Treasure outdid this, I think, as well, and Nicolas Cage with the modern adventure film. I think those are the pinnacle of modern adventure films. So maybe if they did a third one of the Tomb Raider films without Angelina Jolie, which it sounds more likely to do, they should base it more on the lines of the National Adventure films. Okay, so there was a House of the Dead film. Didn't realise they did one of those. Well, that'll explain why you bowl. Yeah, I'll tell you what. I will reserve a special program for Yule Bowl, and I'm not going to accept a boxing challenge if he ever happens, for whatever reason, finding it, because I'm going to tear him to shit. Anyway, House of the Dead, released in North America. I am not going to really go into this because I've not seen it. There's not really enough information here, but I can imagine if it's like all his other films, because I've not actually seen his films. But to be honest, do I need to? Most people will absolutely tear him apart. I mean, well, when I say I haven't seen his films, I haven't seen all his films all the way through because I usually get bored before they end. I usually watch bits and pieces of them and they're just terrible. But anyway, yeah, let's skip on. Pokemon again. God, how many more of those can they make? Resident Evil Apocalypse. Now, this one I thought was improvement on the first film. I actually tied in characters from the game. You got Jill Valentine, you got Nemesis, who turned at the end. And, well, Sienna Golroy was really good as Jill Valentine, I thought. And was Carlos Oliveira in the video game? I can't remember. There was someone like his character in the video game. Yeah, there was. Yeah, he was in Resident Evil 3. Yeah, I thought he was. So, yeah, that was another one they tied into it. They tied in the Ashfords. The Ashfords, who were mentioned in Code Veronica X. And they actually, although this didn't, once again, it was based on Resident Evil 2 and 3, this film, and they tied in little events from each of the different games into this one, such as the helicopter chase from Code Veronica. This one got enough to get its third sequel, the second sequel, sorry. I mean, we were told we were going to get a fourth one, but don't know what happened to that one. I mean, I guess they just thought, you know, maybe when they saw the third film. I mean, I haven't seen the third film, so, you know, you never know. But apparently the third film's just absolutely terrible compared to the other two, so I won't complain, sorry, about that too much. Alone in the Dark, I know that one's U-Ball again with Christian Slater, and I know Alone in the Dark is a survival horror game series, so when U-Ball turns down a script on the fact that it didn't have enough car chases in it, I think that's enough said about that film. Oh, Doom with The Rock, although Carl Urban's the main star in this one. But released 2005. Yeah, I liked Doom, to be honest. I mean, they ignored the whole it came from hell thing, but I mean, Doom it was a bit of an odd game to adapt, if you ask me, because it's going back to basing games on when they didn't really have much of a storyline, but you just had the objective of get from here to here, or blow everything to hell. But yeah, I like Doom. The first person part was cheesy, but you know, it was entertaining at least, and I have to say that it could have been a lot worse, to be honest. Moving on, another Pokemon film, and I'm not going to look at any more Pokemon films. Really, God, there's so many. Blood Rain, U-Ball. Oh God, let's see. I mean, this one he had Christina Loken, Michael Madsen, Billy Zane, Ben Kingsley, Michelle Rodriguez, Meatloaf. It looks like he's got. Oh no, sorry, I was just misread something there. But either way, he had a cast for this one, and I think people thought this was actually going to turn out to be pretty good. I mean, he had 2 misfires before this, and he just well, 6 Golden Raspberry Awards. That tells you enough. Worst Picture, Worst Actress, Worst Supporting Actor, Worst Supporting Actress, Worst Supporting Director, and Worst Screenplay. Goes to the Movie Channel before even going to the Sci-Fi Channel. Oh, only for a few times before going to the Sci-Fi Channel. It wasn't even a direct-to-DVD in this country, so, you know. The British only pick the finest in films to go to their cinema. I wish that could be true.